it's not our fault. Got to have the grand entrance, but the damn YouTube doesn't get, so people aren't on board. So I always try to give them a little window so we don't get started. We don't dive right in like we would like. We don't always want to play that same silly song that you hear at the end of each hour, but we have to, because otherwise you won't get it on the YouTube. That's the way it works.
You know, I haven't checked the royalty-free music in about 6 months. Maybe there'll be another one I could throw in the rotation.
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah.
Sound like Pantera, maybe.
Till just right now. We could try. We can see if there's something else. We just picked that one because it was the lesser of all evils with all they were all terrible.
The best we had was the Probables bed. That was it.
That's all we had. You happy to be back, man? Charlotte's always fun, but it's good to be back because now it means it's go time. It's go time for football. I know we just got done with a meeting. Meetings are, what they are.
Yeah.
But it's time now.
I feel good to be back. As you know, the back half of the return drive home
it's a toughie.
Is a toughie, and that's nobody's fault. The company was fine and wonderful, and the conversation was good. Ira drove the whole way, so I didn't have to worry about that. But, when you are hitting the border near Florida, near the border, and you got about 3.5 hours to go, that's when it hurts your feelings. So my feelings are no longer hurt. Feeling good. Got a lot of information, context. There was some good whispers up there in Charlotte, just things to learn. And now we got the schedule this morning for camp for the upcoming week.
Yeah,
and,
so Tuesday
all the way to kickoff. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're all good. So Tuesday we've got the luncheon. That's the annual occurrence where we sit down. Mike Norvell, the head coach, addresses the staff, addresses the assembled media and everybody else in attendance. That's an invite to that. And so it is. You hang out, and he talks to you a little bit about the team and expectations, and do's and don'ts. There's always a reiteration of some do's or don'ts for the press, and then from there it's a cordial little meal and a few Q&As, and we get some information, and then we start camp on Wednesday. And I'm ready, man. I'm really pumped. You're right. We got the official email, all practices ready to go, open to the media, of course, and I'm excited. So here we go. It's good. By the way, first scrimmage, August the 6th. That's a Saturday, August the 6th. Mark it on your calendars, everybody. August the 6th. And then, it's going to be important. Got one on the 13th. They're closed to the media. I'll be sneaky and see both of those scrimmages and tell you everything about them.
Please do. Get our badges revoked. That'll be great.
That'll be good, yeah. So, Wednesday they get after it. Practices will be at 3:40 p.m., which kind of works out well.
It does for the first 3 days, and then they shift to the morning practices.
Which I love those morning practices.
Me too, buddy.
I don't need these first 3 practices. I'm glad they've started. I'm glad they'll be starting next week. It is important to get out there and all that. But until we get the pads on, guys running around in shorts and a t-shirt ain't helping nobody. Let's go.
Yeah, that first one on Wednesday will be good just to see what the freshmen look like and see.
Always fun.
We got the listings 2 days ago of weight changes and such. Some of them are notable, so you want to see what that looks like. Is that because you're pudgy, or is that because you're in better shape? That kind of stuff.
Would that be fun, by the way?
We'll learn that on Wednesday.
Be kind of fun to sit there and, good to see you again, whomever. Look at you looking a little portly. Did you put some on this offseason?
So that's how you got to 3:30. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Here, I thought it was because you were diesel.
No, the hope is that right, that Coach Storms has got him eating at the Bama table.
There were a lot of significant changes, more than I could, because we were going by when we posted it on the threads on Warchant. We were going by the spring roster. Listed heights and weights. So that is significant change. Even 5-6 pounds. You're talking about 4 months, a little less than. That's significant work, one way or the other, depending if you're a gainer or a loser.
Yeah, and I don't like the way you just throw around loser, Tom. So let's call it something else. Like that
a gainer or a shedder?
Made healthy choices.
A toner? How about a toner? A bulker or a toner?
All of it sounds strangely, uncomfortable. But I listen. There's a story there. Austin Cox wrote several hours ago on Warchant.com about Fabian Lovett looking for a big year. I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to have a huge year. I bet he was great at the ACC kickoff.
He was funny.
He is funny.
He's drier. He's not going to give you as much if you're just looking for a soundbite. But if you talk to him and you get a few questions in, he'll open up and he's funny. The one thing he said, he was asked, how's the progress from the team, the competition gotten to where it is versus when you first got here on campus? And he laughed. He goes, the transfer portal. Like, what an answer. I was like, wow.
That is the right answer, sir.
They've got a different class of freshmen coming in, and they're starting to evaluate and land the kids that they want to land. But the change began with the transfer portal. 3 guys that were there, the only 3 players were all from the transfer portal. And if you look to the top 10 of our Warchant top 40 list, a huge portion of that list is from the transfer portal. It's just funny to hear a player say that, not culture, not anything. We got different players, man, and they weren't from around here.
I talked about yesterday, you guys were traveling, but I spent some time on some numbers involving, success rate of the offense and some of the problems that they had. Also success rate on passing downs. Jordan Travis was 69th in the country on that last year. The offense was 92nd, something like that overall. Talked about the finishing drives rate, which is points scored inside the opponent's 40. They were 112. I mean, they were awful. And
when you have to get inside a 35-yard field goal.
Again, they just weren't good in a lot of these numbers. But my point wasn't to dog them. It was to say the reason I'm taking the over on the 6.5 is that the things that they added to this offense and the things that they added to those segment groups, which were weak, will improve those numbers, I would think, greatly. It's a little bit like when you are grossly overweight, it's easy to lose the first 10 to 15 pounds just by making a couple good decisions. If you add 2 or 3 receivers to this inept roster of receivers that can actually play at the Power 5 level, well, immediately everything about your offense changes because you've got some playmakers there, some guys that'll make somebody miss, even if you throw short of the chains. So Jordan Travis's success rate on passing downs is going to go way up. Just by having a Micah Pittman, and how quickly does Winston Wright get back? And let's just say Johnny Wilson does add something to this team of significance. I think he's a plus addition. I don't think he's a nothing. So yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I got excited about that. But the depth of the offensive line and the competition that it creates of the offensive line, they're going to be better there too. Because if a guy goes down, you're not hopeless going into a game the way you were last year. Frankly, anybody went down last year, good luck. You had to hope that you were playing a vastly inferior opponent or that you were able to scheme your way around it and get a little bit of luck involved there. Basically, the Jordan Travis numbers reveal that this offense relied far too heavily on broken plays. Broken plays. Non-designed quarterback runs by Jordan Travis is what sustained drives for Florida State football against the better teams. It wasn't because they were able to scheme it up consistently. They did occasionally. We have talked about bravo for all the one-on-one matchups you created in the passing game. But those guys were inept and they couldn't get open. And so, therefore, we hope that changes. So those numbers should jump way up. And if they do, and you marry those numbers with the very solid defensive numbers at the end of last year, the havoc rates were great. They should drop a little bit because you lose, obviously, Johnson, which is, a first-round pick. But I do think that you added some help and you got some guys that'll take a step forward. And I think Briggs is going to have a big year. So there's that. But you added a Tatum Bethune, who's a stud at linebacker, and that unit is upgraded. You're really solid on the back end. They were a top 35 defense in terms of success rate, getting stops, getting off the field last year in the second half of the season. Top 35. So if you begin the season as a top 35 defense, let's say, in that neighborhood, I'm not going to make a crazy leap to top 10. Let's just say 35, top 35. If you're top 35 from day one, instead of week 5, week 6, and your offense is in the neighborhood of top 50 in success rate, well, hell, that's 8 wins, man. That is 8 wins, period. It just is. I don't know where they'll come from, but they are 8 wins.
And you said with the offense that a lot of it was broken plays for Jordan Travis, and that's true. But even when it wasn't a broken play for Jordan Travis,
runs.
Well, but it was the fear of the broken plays for Jordan Travis. And that's what you scheme against because you're not going to scheme and double up on receivers. Like, why? There's no reason to.
Well, and that's a killer. That tells you how special of a runner Jordan is, that teams didn't even have to worry about it, that they could walk a guy down and spy him. They could do all those things, and he still made people miss. Carolina has to be like, well, damn it, man, what in the hell? Watch that game again. It's ridiculous. All the stuff in the passing game happens because they're scared to death of Jordan Travis.
Right. Now, if you're scared to death of him, and you moderately fear one or two receivers, and by week 2 or 3, when the film's out there, you say, well, Trey Benson could be a problem. I mean, again, this is not a top 10 offense, like you're saying with the defense. I'm not trying to say that they go there. But if you give a defensive coordinator multiple players, different spots of the formation to worry about, now you've got a chance to succeed early in games. Even if your first 15 plays, let's say, are mediocre, well, they got to guess. And if they guess wrong, that's their ass. That's the way it should be around here. And we're getting closer to it, where we haven't arrived yet. You got one player who they're scared to death of, but you might have a couple others by the time the film gets out there and October begins.
Yeah, Mike sounded confident for a reason. I agree with you. I think Mike Norvell is more confident now than he's ever been since he's arrived here. That's the way it should be. You've had time to create that confidence by going to the transfer portal, also recruiting, also getting rid of kids that are dead weight and negatives in the locker room. So you've done all of that. It stands to reason you would be more confident going into this season than you were last, or the year before, certainly, which was a jumbled mess. But I do think that, you know, he's probably pretty excited about that depth we talk about, and also because he saw they had a good spring. I know I've said it 100 times. I know that's people roll their eyes about spring. I typically roll my eyes about spring. I want you to know, if you're new to the show, I'm not one of those guys that champions spring, because a lot of things happen in spring that don't always carry over. But when you're a team in transition and you have a lot of new faces and you have other kids that you're relying on, perhaps in some cases before they're ready, and then you see them come back for their second spring and they take a step forward, that is something that you can project will last going into the fall and maybe transfer over into the season. And we saw enough of those things along with the new faces to feel better about where they're at.
Yeah, and specifically to the offense and the quarterback, again, in spring, they're working on things he's not good at.
Well, yeah.
They know what he can do. Offensive havoc rate. That's what I would call a quarterback like Jordan Travis. That's what he can create, is havoc, because you can scheme everything up right, but if one dude misses on a backside contain, it's a gain of 30. Or you commit a defender, he comes up and Jordan throws it over the top and you got a 45-yard gain or more. That's the havoc rate the offense can create, but they weren't working on that in spring because they know he can do that. Plus, you're not going to turn him live. It doesn't give you a good indication of would he have broken that tackle or would he get the edge or the corner, things like that. So if he's refined even a little bit, then you're taking a huge leap forward, because you already have receivers in theory right now. It'll be in practice soon, at least with Pittman, maybe others. If they can win one-on-ones, he's going to look a lot better. You're going to say, Jordan got a lot better. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he's just throwing to an open dude. Maybe people block for him now, so he can stand in the pocket for an extra tick.
Let's see if he does.
That's all the difference.
Let's see if he does. He's spent his career running around, partly out of necessity, certainly. But that's a tough thing to have to. Well, that's why they blew the whistles.
You want to get to the point, too, where you say, stop doing that. You don't have to.
Yeah. Well, that's
stand tall.
In spring, they blew the whistle the second he'd start to run. They're like, no, man, I already know you can run. Stop doing that. Throw the ball. And throw it even when you're in uncomfortable situations. We want you to get used to sitting in there, hanging in there. You might have to take some hits, but, you know, let's wait on a guy to break open and throw the ball and see if we can't get some rhythm into that. It worked to some degree. We'll need to see. I really hope, I was really encouraged and continue to be encouraged. This summer has featured probably the one thing that gave me the most amount of hope coming into this camp, and that is that Winston Wright, who I just assumed had zero chance to play this fall. And when that car accident occurred, I said, well, I mean, can anything else happen to this poor bastard? Not meaning Winston, but Mike Norvell. I mean, can anything else happen to this guy? I mean, he's had some tough luck. And I thought, man, that's a killer, because that's a plug and play dude. That is a guy that produces at the Power 5, and then he, of all guys, go down, and you're like, okay. But, Ira, with that report initially that he was really coming along nicely, and then we saw evidence of it through his own social media account, and meaning Winston Wright.
And Mike saying advanced stage. Again, it's not a timetable, because Mike is
well, I mean, you got to be careful about that.
And
too.
Yes, understandably cloak and dagger. Mm-hmm. But what he said in the spring is something I'll never ever forget. He's out indefinitely in the short term. I don't know what the
I'm going to use that for my kids.
Yeah.
Just to cloud them.
How long am I grounded? You're
indefinitely in the short term. Don't ask again for at least 6 days. 6 days is the short term. Then we'll get back to this. Yeah. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hi, my name is Shannon Pash, and I'm the principal at Red Hills Academy. We will provide a challenging, rigorous curriculum. We will also work with our students to teach them how to set goals and then how to work to reach those goals. Red Hills Academy will offer the Spanish language every day. Relationships are really important to us, not just with our students, but with our families and the community. This benefits parents and students alike because parents get that involvement within the school. Easily apply online today at redhillsacademy.com.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. Wanted to let you guys know chiropractic doesn't just get rid of back pain, neck pain, and headaches. It can help with sleep. It can help with digestion. Maybe you have pain down your arm. But chiropractic is one of the safest, most natural, most effective ways to get to the root cause of your problem. So if your loved one are having a problem, even if you think we might not be able to help, make a new patient appointment today at finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
You know, fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at widdenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-789-0374 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-789-0374. That's 800-789-0374. What do you have to lose? Call 800-789-0374. Again, 800-789-0374.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Cameron Show, a week with no practice, and that would be true of today's show, right? And I said that at the start of the week. This is the last of the Jeff Cameron Show weeks where we're not discussing specifics about things that happened with football plays, players, and practices, and soon games. Yes, that's a beautiful thing. Like things that we saw.
Could you imagine if between now and the end of the calendar year, this is one of maybe 6 or 7 days where we don't have a practice? Because, you know, if we go to a bowl, a lot of December should be full with practices.
I think they're going to a bowl, Tom. It's just a matter of how prestigious a bowl they're headed towards. Let's find out. I do think that was part of it. That part of my commentary in the college sports book and in general, just trying to be objective about it, was I think Florida State could be one of the surprise teams. Usually we look around the landscape of college football. You and I like to do this in the pros. Every year we pick a team that is maybe projected to finish. Back in the day when we had 16 games, we'd say 5-11 or 4-12, and then you'd be like, I think the Raiders are going to go 8-8 this year, or something like that.
Quest for 8-8.
Yeah, it was a modest little jump, right? I think that for Florida State, that number is 6.5 in Vegas. I think they could surprise. To me, if you're a game and a half above your win total projection, if you're certainly 2.5 wins above your projection, that would be a surprise. If they got the 9-3,
feeling bullish about the 9-3?
I'm not feeling bullish about 9-3 at all. But I do think I am feeling very bullish on at least 7, and I'm not going to be surprised at all by 8. So really all you're getting at then is, what do you have an upset in you? How big an upset do you have? Do you catch a couple breaks? The one thing about this season and all of the positive outlooks that we may have about this segment group or this particular game or areas in which they're going to improve, you'll come crashing back down to reality real quick when you think about, in certain segment groups, there is a precipitous drop-off in depth and talent. So there are groups that, so I'm not going to put the bad mojo out there, but for as good of an addition, an important addition, as Tatum Bethune is, and he is, that group is improved because of his, obviously, arrival, and their production may end up being that of the upper echelon of the ACC, but only if he's there for 12 games, only if he's there as a starter and a dominant football player like he was at UCF. If for any reason he goes down and misses significant time, you have last year's linebacking core, which is average at best, a very improved Kalen DeLoach, who we got excited about, but it takes a pretty steep stumble with zero margin for error after that. So you see where I'm going. I mean, there are some things that have been improved, but we also know that football is a tough game.
Yeah, I'd say it's above average squarely with him to good, and then it's average, which is better because they were trending much, much more healthily towards the end of last season, the linebacking core.
Yeah, they were playing a lot better.
And you never know. That one guy I'm keeping my eye on, because his name came up in Charlotte, Omar Graham. Just want to see how camp looks for him. Because
I thought it was fascinating.
If he's the fourth guy in the rotation and he slides up to third, you never know what that could mean by the end of the season for a guy like Omar Graham. And again, 20 snaps are very valuable a game. If you can give me 20 snaps at linebacker.
I was surprised Mike brought his name up at the ACC kickoff.
He was solid in the spring.
Well, he was very solid. He had great instincts, and he's a thick kid. He's got a chance to play and handle the reps. That's the problem at that position. Such a brutal position. So, if you come in and you're an impressive route runner as a freshman, let's say as a wide receiver, I got high hopes that you can play right away. Whereas as a linebacker, that's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, and again, I want to clarify. I'm not saying that he's going to get 20 snaps a game now. I'm just saying if Tatum went down in October, maybe. It's an important camp. It's an important camp for backups in a lot of ways. That's what good football teams do is, when they're loaded with blue chippers that are juniors or seniors, and you go through your previews for the Alabamas or the Georgias of the world, the starters are going to be largely. I mean, you mostly do. These guys have been around the program for a while. There might be a phenom that comes in, but mostly, 8 out of the 11 starters. But who's going to be the first off the bench? Who's going to be the guy that rotates in? And that's what healthy programs look like. Our position battles that we're looking at principally are not for the starters, but for the rotational pieces. You're getting closer to healing as a program.
Another 2 years away from getting to a place where I think you go, okay, they have quality depth at every position.
Right
probably
now,
about 2 years away.
Probably more than half of them at this point, though, right?
Yeah, I still think the talent floor has got to come way up. Remember, what we've been recruiting has required us to go out heavily in the transfer portal. So at some point, you want to get to a place where you don't have to do that every year. They're having to do it every year, which is fine. I mean, utilize this opportunity, because he'd have been really screwed if we didn't have the transfer portal, as you and I have talked about a lot. But they do have it, and they've done a good job with it. And they've done better than a good job of saying, hey, yeah, that guy can play. Let's bring him in. they've done a good job of getting guys that, yeah, that guy can play. Let's bring him in, and he's a perfect fit. He's going to lead on and off the field. Like, they got a lot of guys that fit. I know he talks about this a lot, but it is important when you're fixing something to bring in guys that do both. And he has. I mean, they were fixing something. It wasn't just that we weren't winning games. They were broken. Everything about that locker room was broken. The culture was broken. So identifying guys that are better than the guys you have, that's the easy part. I mean, any of us can do that. I can look out there and go, like, that guy's slow, doesn't really have any sort of dynamic skill set that gives us an advantage. We should probably recruit over him. He's not very good. Anybody can do that. But identifying guys that would come in, be better than that player, but also help you in the way that they showcase on a daily basis how to lead, how to work out, how to prepare, how to study, how to do all those things. That does matter. And I'm not talking about getting good. I see it. I'll get to them. I'm not talking about like all this stuff about, hey, he got a B in algebra. I'm talking about like, how do you, from a football standpoint, how well do you prepare to sacrifice every day and to lead every day and to showcase, what we're trying to get to, where we're trying to build to. Eric, thank you very much. What's up, Jeff and Tom and Director Matthew? It's official go time for the Noles. Happy Libations Friday. I'm excited for this season, probably for a long time. Going to get going to, I think you wanted to say big wins, big games, go Noles, all that good stuff. Yeah. Well, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that, buddy. Listen, I think everybody's excited, not just because it's the start of football season. I think everybody's excited because it's a better football team. Not a great football team, but a better football team. Under 25 TD passes this season, X4 wins GX.
That's something we did this week in the predictions video that came up on the channel Warchant TV.
Yes,
and
you did.
Most of us were around that 24 to 25 number. Because if you're trying to get, and the magic number is, according to Corey's research, 31, 32 points a game, 4 touchdowns, right? Unless you're kicking a ton of field goals. That's 4 touchdowns. Is the ratio really going to be 3-to-1 rushing to passing? Can it be if you're going to be the type of offense that we're talking about? So 24 would be right down the middle at 2 per game. I think 25 is a pretty good number to set it at.
It's a good number to set it at. I'm going to go under, but I'm not saying that as a knock. I think that Trey Benson's going to be a real good player for them. I think they're going to be able to have some red zone success running the football. That'll take away some of those touchdown passes. Maybe I'm way off here because maybe Johnny Wilson becomes the red zone threat that we all think 6'7" with that body type should provide.
Well, even so, if you have balance on offense in the red zone and they don't know what to defend, then you're opening up a seam pass to Pokey or something like that, where it's like, whoa, that was too easy. When's the last time you've heard us in the red zone and an announcer or an analyst said, well, this is way too easy? It's been a while. I mean, think about one of the touchdowns we scored up at Clemson. You had like a little tricky formation and a bubble, and there's like a swinging gate element to something.
There was a lot of weird.
We're on the 1.
Yeah.
Damn it, we're on the 1 yard line.
1 yard line.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that red zone stuff we talk about, you and I talk about not having the ability to line up and just beat up people. I think they have a better chance to do that in some games this year. That not against the best teams. They're still not an elite offensive line, but against the middling teams they can. I brought it up yesterday, but they were 89th in offensive success rate, 96th in offensive finishing drives. So they really struggled to finish drives, and we know that. Now, the contrast you brought up was, well, in the red zone they score. They kick some field goals and they found a way to come away with points in the red zone, but they weren't a great red zone team. And you never felt like in the red zone against anybody with any kind of a defensive line they were going to do anything. NC State, Clemson, Florida, it didn't feel like
you never felt like that's your ass when we're in the red zone, but we found a way to finish a lot more drives than I think we should have had any right to, given the lack of skills.
Think about how many more we would have if we didn't call a run for a kid with 1 foot. Hey, let's run Mackenzie Milton here. That sounds like a good idea. The hell are we doing? Still pissed. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A Tallahassee man, 26-year-old Kason Small, was arrested after police found fentanyl, marijuana, and alpha PBP while executing a search warrant on Saxon Street Wednesday. TPD was investigating a home in the 2100 block of Saxon Street. A search was conducted by several special units. They found 140 grams of alpha PBP, over 4 grams of fentanyl, 330 grams of marijuana. Small was taken into custody, and more arrests could come from the investigation. Law enforcement in 2 South Georgia counties are looking for a man who was last seen on Sunday. Search crews from Grady and Thomas County Sheriff's Sheriff's Office are looking for 23-year-old Andrew Hires, who goes by Trent. The Thomasville man was last seen Sunday night near Barnett's Creek. He led deputies on a car chase and crashed into the bridge wall. He jumped out while his vehicle was still in drive. Hires then jumped from the bridge, and deputies are unsure if he landed in the water or on the embankment. 2 other people were in the vehicle at the time of the crash and were arrested on the scene. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered storms this afternoon, otherwise overcast. Daytime highs approaching 91, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overcast tonight, chance for scattered thunderstorms, lows level off around 74. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, chance for scattered thunderstorms, daytime highs approaching 93. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 91.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floor. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I should say. Our roof is still looking good, baby. Like it was the day they put that sucker on. It was desperately needed, and I've got nothing but great things to say about T-Spark. So do a lot of my friends. So does my producer. So do everybody. So if you're in need, it's a simple thing. It's one of those things like big purchase items. We get it. Not everybody needs a roof, but if you do, T-Spark Roofing and Construction. That's where you're going to go. That's the most relied upon group of people I know, and they do it the right way. And again, we talk about all the reasons why I have many times over, but I'm just telling you the reason we talk about them is they've done great work. They've done great work at my house. It's easy for me to say. If you're thinking about a new roof, give them a call today, 850-766-1340, or get a free quote, tsparkconstruction.com.
Some would say that's the key to good advertising. Somebody's not driving down the road saying, I need to buy a roof now. But it's about top of mind when the need arises. And that always happens, especially now as a homeowner to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, wait a minute. Mold? I remember that mold guy's ad. And then boom, there you go.
Mold is a scary one.
That was only for the inspection process.
Yeah,
we got it done before we purchased it.
Kevin writes, is the LSU game the most consequential game for the program in the last 5 years, 10 years? Recruiting implications, state of the program, primetime exposure, etc. No, it's not. No, you can lose that game, and I'm not sure that it would be in the top 10 most impactful games. It's an important game, Kevin. I agree with you. There are recruiting implications. But I don't think, because I'll give you an example. Florida State had primetime exposure a year ago. They were trying to have an influence on recruits as well to say that this was a better team and that they had taken a step forward. They played great in that primetime game, took it to overtime against a vastly superior Notre Dame team. If you look position by position, Notre Dame was better almost everywhere across the board. And it did them no good at all. They turned around and lost to Jacksonville State. They went 0-4. That game showed it mattered not at all.
Yeah, on balance, one thing I'd say about that, this is something that Norvell, when we were with the local media only, he was explaining that there was a lot of positive energy around the program after the loss. And he thinks that played a role in maybe the failures the next week.
He didn't like it.
No, he didn't. But also, no, man, that's your job.
Correct.
To make sure that they don't do that. And also, don't put Mackenzie and Jordan on the field at the same time
Well,
next
it's just
week.
dumb.
That's stupid.
He warned, though. I remember that Monday, he warned that, and I will give him credit for this. Maybe he knew the damage was already done because everybody was singing their praises for having a chance to steal that game and win that game. But I remember he was not happy about that. He kept telling people, he was like, well, listen, you don't get pats on the backs for losing. We lost the game. We should learn from it, but we lost the game, and that's not what we're here to do. I appreciated that because I think long-term that's obviously the right mentality to have. But, yeah, it is your job to hammer that home. To make
Mac Brown did the same thing up there yesterday. He was talking about, somebody asked, are people underrating your program? He said, I hope that they criminally underrate our program because I think we were the most overrated program last year in the preseason. And it went to our guys' heads. It's like, oh, that's your job, my man. You got to play psychologist. He said, sometimes you don't want to take them down and tell them how bad they are, but maybe I should have. Yeah, maybe you should have. But then again, it wouldn't have been so easy to bet against North Carolina. So I'm glad you didn't, Mac.
Yeah, I don't think they lost to Florida State because they were overconfident.
He was talking about the whole season,
Yeah.
just their win-loss record for the year and their performance.
Yeah, that's just poor coaching. He had a great first year. You saw it.
They only won 7 games.
Well, but I mean, he took over and they right away really played hard, played much better. They were in a lot of games that they lost, and they looked like a different team. They took a step forward the following year, and then it's just, I don't think that's sustainable when your coach is 105.
He disappointed me yesterday. I went there to the breakout before we left just to see if he'd comment and pipe up about ACC relative strength for North Carolina, and he totally chickened out. He said it's up to the president and the athletic director. He said, I have some experience with Texas when we were looking into the Pac-12, which is an interesting anecdote. He said, but what I ended up doing was worrying for 18 months about nothing because it didn't end up happening for our program. We did not move to the Pac-12 in Austin. And then in the end, he just said, sometimes you got to think about what's good for your school or the sport.
Boy, yeah.
And I'd rather think about what's good for college football than North Carolina. North Carolina will be fine no matter what. Like, you chicken, come on. That's not what you believe.
So who are the top receivers is the question we have in the chat. Again, I don't think there's any question that Micah Pittman from day one will come in here and make, I think, arguably the biggest difference for that group. I thought he was the best receiver in the spring. I thought he was the most dependable, reliable in every facet of what it means to be a receiver: route running, receiving, toughness, all those things. He contested catches. I think so you're just talking about where he's in the slot. So how quickly does Winston Wright get up to speed? Because I think if he is, let's say he's healthy. We're assuming a lot here. Again, he's in rehab, but if he's healthy, how quickly does he become a dependable go-to down in, down out guy? Because again, he didn't get to really do it in the spring. He was nursing an injury and then he got hurt in a car accident. So he hasn't had time to rep it. I doubt he's in football shape per se. You got to get hit. You got to feel that. So I don't know how quickly can it happen. He would be on my list. Malik McClain and Pokey. Those would be your 4. And then I think however they're going to try to work in Johnny is important too. It depends on what you're asking them to do. Johnny Wilson is a blocker, is a guy that if you're going to run the quick game, is going to be out there, and he's going to be very, very important to you.
So is the question best or most productive in terms of targets and receptions? Because if it's best, I'd actually give Johnny a bump with the blocking. Because you might see him on the field a little bit more. It might not reflect in the target count if you go down the line with the receivers. But then the other question I'd ask is you brought up Pittman in the slot. He can generate space in the perimeter.
He can.
It'll be interesting to see.
I hate short receivers on the perimeter, but
Like, yes, you could line up Johnny on one side on the perimeter, and then Malik, and then there's Pittman in the slot.
Mm-hmm. I like that, actually.
There are times that Micah should, at minimum, there are times that he should be outside the numbers because he can create depth, and he's got that nuance to
I'm
his
not saying
ability.
he's totally one-dimensional. I just think that he's certainly not your quintessential.
No, he's not go up and get it guy.
No.
But Jordan does a great job of throwing outside the numbers. That's one of the throws he has down.
It's his strength, yeah.
And this is one of the receivers on the team that knows how to create space from the sideline to the numbers, to use his body to shield, to give a window. I don't know that, for example, Malik is great at that. Johnny's size demands that he should be, but this is somebody who understands the nuance of how to make that happen in Pittman.
He's a better player for his size than he has a right to be. That's toughness. That's want to. There's a lot going on there with him. I'm impressed. Michael writes, Libations Friday question: has Jim Phillips stopped drinking yet since that presser earlier this week? Listen, I have made it abundantly clear that I thought that he certainly did nothing in the way of projecting strength. And he did reveal that there is no logical path for the ACC, because if there was one, he would have latched onto it and sold it. But I don't blame him. I don't blame him in the sense that he did not create this mess. He could have, it wouldn't have been professional, nor would it have been it wouldn't have been professional. He could have gotten up there and been like, well, once again, thanks to John Swafford, wonderful job that he's done the last 20 years. He could have gone and made it abundantly clear that we have inherited a mess. But he didn't.
We have full distribution now, and that's created, some might say, a windfall of extra revenues for us. And we've got some other ideas, and I've got some excellent new ways and pathways to revenue that I look forward to rolling out in the next couple of weeks. He actually said that part.
Yes, he did. He said maybe by the end of the month.
Maybe by the end of the month.
That cracked me up. The consultants.
What? What are your consultants going to tell you?
Yeah. Hey,
20 mil per school kind of consultants?
Over the years, I've had so much fun with the idea of being a consultant. It's the greatest thing ever. If whatever job you're in, if you get to the place where somehow you've fooled enough people to where you can be called a consultant and they ship you all over to consult, well, by all means, please take that title and run, because you get overpaid to go into other people's places who know far more than you about what that environment's like, the day-to-day operations are like, and you then you have the authority to tell them what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right, none of which is going to stick the second you leave. It's all nonsense. And whenever I hear somebody fall back on, well, we've got those consultants are stealing from you, sir. There's no magic pill out there. What are they going to prescribe? What are we going to find out? Oh my God, guys, we've been overlooking this massive revenue stream that nobody else has picked up on, but our consultants did. They figured out that each member institution could be making $35 million more a year if we just do this. No, it doesn't exist, pal.
4 words: work smarter, not harder. Is that my check? Yeah, I'll just pick that up. Okay.
Think outside the box.
Oh.
Everybody get that?
Be more efficient.
Yeah, man, it's just ridiculous. I crack up. I love it.
Might I suggest time management?
Yeah. A lot of us think we're making the most out of each and every day, the opportunities we have before us to improve revenue. But in reality, I think we all can sit back. And in fact, why don't you guys get out a pen and pad now? Let's start going over the ways that we could be more efficient with our time. Instead of maybe an hour lunch, how about a 45-minute lunch? Now, you think about that on a Monday, on a Tuesday. You see where I'm going? That's 30 minutes on 2 days right there. 30 minutes. What could you do with those 30 minutes?
Yeah. Time is money. It's an hour and 15 minutes a week. You should delegate that task. Oh, there's nobody underneath you? Well, you know what? You could still delegate it. Delegation's a very important tool to use. I know you're on the low part of the totem pole. There's somebody you could delegate that to.
And they'll want to learn from you. And remember that, everybody, that when you delegate, it's not just that you're shifting workload to somebody else. It's that you're teaching them a better and more efficient way by which to rise through the ranks here at the company.
Just ask for volunteers. Just put an ad out there for volunteers. People eager to learn.
It's my favorite.
Don't pay them. You don't have to pay them.
I love that he referenced consultants. I was like, that's a sham. My goal is to retire in 5 or 6 years and be a consultant. And when I am, I'm going to put it in my bio everywhere. And anybody who knows me, who's ever listened to the show, will be like, Look at Cameron living the dream.
He made it.
He made it. He's a consultant. He's walking around stealing money from broadcasting.
He's like Indiana Jones rolling under the wall.
Yeah.
He made it just in time.
They're going to fly me to Austin. I'm going to go into some sports talk station and be like, how you doing, guys? Good to meet you, Jeff Cameron, radio consultant. Now, I know you guys think radio's dead. In a lot of ways it is. But I want you also to know that we have not bled this stone dry. So let's gather around and talk about the ways that we can be more efficient.
You may think I'm expediting the death by using valuable resources that you have right here.
Extra money to fly me in. Yeah. And by the way, dinner's on me tonight, guys. Company's paying for it. It's going to be great.
That's right. You know, for these 2 weeks, I am making half of what you make in a year.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. I just thought I'd bring that up.
No, thought you should know.
That's why
There's
you're
a
listening
reason
to me.
That's why I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Yeah. But again, we'll write this down. It'll be good. It'll be good. We'll all be better. And when I leave here, hopefully you'll act and work smarter. Not harder, but smarter. Like Tom said, my cohort in the consulting chain.
We just need to write these values out and make sure everybody signs at the bottom. These are our new values.
I always feel like the consultants, if there's more than one when they come to visit, we had consultants come to Clear Channel. It was the best. I remember laughing my ass off. And but I was thinking that, like, if there's more than one of them, then they're really stealing, because they're buddies and they're paid for. They go out and drink and eat and be merry at every town they get sent to, right? And presumably, they've been married long enough that they like the respite of 48 hours or so away from their wife and their family. That's when they have to come back and be responsible and actually work. My favorite is that those guys, when they left the room, I know they were like dapping, laughing, like, let's go get hammered on the company. Right. There's a great restaurant downtown. These losers.
I'm telling you, Roger, I enjoy it more when you're the bad cop. Well, Mitch, you know, we each got to take turns.
Oh, being a consultant. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. All heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. It used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now. 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready.
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows
know that.
Patty and Scott.
I don't know. This is Patty Wilson. No, this is. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and North.
All right, I'm just checking my betting slips. See how we're doing here with the big 3M in the Twin Cities. By the way, that course looks beautiful. I'd love to go see that thing. Nobody else is there. It'd probably be, we'd have full access to everything, but
It's quite picturesque on the 2K video game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just something to point out there. Just checking out some numbers. Got some guys battling out towards the top. But our own Jonas Blake's has fought hard to move his way into the top 32 on the board there. Rare sighting from Jonas on the.
He has been cited more of late, though, this season.
That is correct.
So good for him to have a little bounce back, make a little bit extra cash for himself. He's made plenty, I'm sure, by now.
Jonas is one of the, and there's 2 Noles. Hank Lebiota is there as well. He and Jonas are both at -1. One thing to point out about Jonas is he's one of the really good Noles. He's a great guy and somebody that you should root for to do well and, frankly, in his case, keep his card. I'd love to see it because he works hard. He's had some injuries, too. He's had a lot of injuries, and so he's had to fight through that. He is, according to Trey Jones, the best putter he's ever had. That guy is like a putting savant.
Yeah, and Trey knows what he's looking at, too.
He can putt.
You know a lot of good putters around these parts.
Yeah.
Kenny set records on the tour.
Yes, he did.
Right?
Yes,
I mean, you're like, shoot.
So on that subject, that's why obviously Cam Smith won the Open, was putting. He gained 8 strokes on the field. He was far and away the best putter for the week. He, Trey and I were talking about this on Wednesday for Beyond the Tips. And he said that, watch. He loves watching great putters. He talked about Brad Faxon this way too. He's like, watch the picture, the snapshot they're taking in their head when they look at the hole. He's like, a lot of guys look at their ball, look back at the hole, look at their ball, look back at the hole. It's the last look that they give the hole that you can decide whether or not you think that they have a legit chance. This is good for betting. That's why I'm telling you this. It's like if we're betting,
just you and me talking.
I'm just saying, if we're betting, watch and see what he does. If he keeps his eyes for a prolonged period of time at the hole before going back to the ball for the final time, he's picturing the ball going in the hole. He's taking a still frame of what it is. He's already decided the line. He's already I'm seeing it go in. He's like, if you watch Cam, every time that final look at the hole, like especially on that Sunday, he saw it going in every time. That's why it just looked like it was a foregone conclusion, because in his mind it was. He's seen it. It's crazy to think about how weird that is about that.
Seen it.
It's nuts, right?
And he was unconscious. It was that putt on 17. There's the difference.
You're like, what is that?
You want to grossly oversimplify the Open. It's Cam making the putt on 17 and Rory missing the putt on 17.
But I mean, at that point, it kind of had been decided, because when you birdie 5 straight holes and you got into a place where you overtook the leaders. I don't know if it was there, but I think just before there, I was like, oh, this is.
Sure. That's why it was a gross oversimplification.
Oh, man. I'm realizing that everybody wants us to rank segment groups. I mean, it's Friday. We'll do some more of that in the second hour. Coming up. Stay tuned.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
The White House conducting contact tracing after President Biden's positive test for COVID-19. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with that report.
Administration officials say it's unclear where exactly the president contracted the coronavirus. He returned from a trip to the Middle East last weekend and made a day trip to Massachusetts on Wednesday. COVID response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha.
The White House Medical Unit is conducting right now contact tracing, and they are contacting every single person who meets the CDC definition of a potentially close contact.
The White House says the president will be isolating in the family residence for at least 5 days. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com. In health news, New York is reporting the first case of polio in the U.S. in nearly a decade.
State health officials say an unvaccinated young adult from a New York City suburb had developed paralysis. Polio symptoms developed a month ago. Dr. Jennifer Nuzzo is at Brown University.
This isn't normal. We don't want to see this. And it's really a consequence of low vaccine coverage, or lower than we'd like to see vaccine coverage.
The person is no longer deemed contagious. Dr. Nuzzo says if you're vaccinated against polio, don't worry.
But in communities where vaccine coverage is low, then we do worry about spread.
Vaccination clinics have been scheduled in New York. Polio was once one of the nation's most feared diseases, mostly affecting children. Because of vaccines, it was declared eliminated in the U.S. in 1979. I'm Ed Donahue.
3 people killed in a shooting at a state park in eastern Iowa this morning. The suspected gunman also dead. That shooting at the Makokata Cave State Park campground before 7 a.m. local time. The park remains closed, but there's no longer a threat to the public. On Wall Street, stocks sharply lower now. The Dow is down 209 points. More at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't know why I didn't see that, but I saw where somebody tweeted at me, Jimbo Fisher's quote, "Unfortunately, our thing went public about his fight with Saban." And you're like, you called a press conference. My man.
The good news, and nobody covers this the way they do the best part of the story. This is the postscript. But now everybody gets to see just how loony the man can be when he says there was never anything personal between me and Nick. And, dude, you called him gutless, despicable. You said some people think they're God.
You called him a coward.
Yes.
You called him a narcissist, a coward, gutless, a despicable person.
That's personal, man.
No, but that's not personal, Tom. But unfortunately, our stuff...
it's like brothers. You know, nobody fights like brothers do. Get out of here.
Yeah.
We're done. That was what you said. We're done. Until I get to the spring meetings and then the fall meetings, then we don't have a problem.
Well, I
That's
get there.
spooky.
You...
Like, imagine working for that. And that's your boss.
Yeah, I dealt with not working, but dealing with it on a weekly basis for a long time.
So I just got reamed. So that means that everything's fine tomorrow?
The oddity is that in his world, it does. Like I'm all I'll say about this is after being MF'd by him more than once, the next time I talk to him, as if it never happened. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Good to talk to you, buddy. What in the world? Hey, Coach. I thought we would get started here a little bit early if you want to. What? Yeah, why not? What is going on?
Speaking of
you may have mentioned that you'd like to harm me the last time we spoke.
We had a temporary GM like that back in the day who would get really mad about something and he'd say, I think that's effing ridiculous. And then he'd just start laughing. So what's next on the list?
Yeah, and you're like,
but the way he said effing ridiculous was personal. You say, whoa. Okay. And he just started laughing.
Kind of strange. What are we doing here?
Maniacal.
So there's a headline that reads, ACC will be quarterback central this year. ACC loaded with talent at quarterback. That's correct. Will that, and none of those guys that are talking that up are referring to Jordan Travis. And I get that. It'd be Devin Leary, Tyler Van Dyke. It would probably be Sam Hartman. It would be the Armstrong kid at Virginia. Quite frankly, I think most people would say that DJ's potential is much greater than that of many of these other guys.
Awkward moment there where Dabo was asked about his confidence or lack thereof, and DJ on the video podium. That was interesting.
But he talked about how much better he was later in the year, and that despite all the problems, they won 10 games again, and they won 7 straight and everything else.
Oh, he pivoted, but there was a palpable, like, maybe Dabo does believe it.
But the problem, here's the thing. He's got guys behind him. They got a 5-star behind him. That's the problem, is that for the rest of us. If he doesn't play well early this year, they'll just bench his ass.
Well, he said something akin to, when Deshaun failed or Trevor failed, we were so good around him that you would never know. Now, when he failed, and then he's like,
whoa,
man.
Malik Cunningham would be ahead of Jordan.
For now.
NFL-wise, Jerkovic is ahead of him, NFL-wise, in terms of how they project at the next level.
There's nothing ahead of Phil on the field, though. 4 of their offensive linemen are not returning, and then their 5th one, the one that was going to come back and start.
Well, that's the guy that got hurt.
Out for the season.
Yeah. No,
that's a problem.
Comprehensive overhaul up front is not the way you want to go into a season.
You came back. Why?
Comprehensive overhaul, but they do get Zay Flowers, who's really good. So he's got his target. He's got that guy. We'll see. He is certainly hampered by the problem up front. Their defense rounded into form last year at BC. Why do I bring any of this up? Well, Jeff Hafley's a good coach, and I worry that could be a problem long term if he stays there. But I really ought not worry about BC. If we're where we're supposed to be, it doesn't really matter. He could be the best coach in football. It wouldn't matter.
That's correct. However, bar none, the best press conference the entire time was his 15 minutes. Hafley was phenomenal.
He is phenomenal. He's a very good coach.
He doesn't care for college is what I'm gathering, because he said something. Well, He said point blank, very literally. He said, I wanted to come to Boston College because I don't want to have to cheat where I go and work. I would like to be able to grow kids, make them better, and do that. So I don't want to cheat. That's a hell of a statement that might get you burned if you're trying to climb the ranks in Power 5 and get a head man job at a big university. You wouldn't want to have to walk back those comments. To me, that speaks and reeks of a man who wants to be elevated into the NFL game. He wants to use Boston College as a stepping stone to the NFL.
Jeff Hafley in his career has worked for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Cleveland Browns, the San Francisco 49ers. You're damn right he wants to be in the NFL.
Yep.
That's where he's been.
Yep.
He's largely been in the National Football League.
He wants a head coaching job there, and that's it.
Well, the problem he has is he's a defensive guy, so you're going to have to first probably go and be a defensive coordinator in the NFL before you're a head coach.
That's the fast track. He's not trying to get back to Ohio State anytime soon.
Right, where he was the DC and defensive backs coach. Listen, he immediately went 6-5 and 6-6, and we'll see what he does. He's 12-11 in his 2 seasons. Some would say that's rather remarkable. He had a quarterback who would have steered them to a better record had he not gotten hurt. So we'll see. When I'm finding wins, this is why it pertains to Florida State. BC's on the schedule. When we look at the wins on this schedule, like the games that you would say are pretty automatic, I'm counting Boston College in that one. Are you not? I mean, not everybody agrees with me on that.
Because of the offensive line situation, I think so. It mitigates their advantage at quarterback and receiver, significantly so.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at that as, without question, an automatic win. Now, I got plenty of people who would argue with me on that, but if we lose that game here, what kind of year are we having?
Of course, and you would like to think that you're 2-1 going into that game, which would be the real home opener. Like Duquesne's the preseason home game. The real home opener is against Boston College, and if you're 2-1 or better for that game, that will be a well-attended Florida State Boston College football game.
What would that look like? A well-attended home game? Well, we saw it against Miami at the end of the year last year. Florida State, by the way, I'm pulling up some numbers here while we're talking. And I looked at, that's what it was. I was just double checking the schedule and looking at the projections here. I went through and gave you all the numbers as to why I had them winning more than 4 games in conference. I have them at 5-3 in conference. So if you get to 5 wins in conference, you're going to get to 7 overall.
Minimum.
Yeah. So this would be one of those wins without question. And if they lose this game, well, then that's an unexpected win in my mind, and you're pretty well screwed. You're going to have some real issues.
Yeah, it's Duquesne, and this is more chronological than it is in order, but Duquesne, Boston College, Wake is not a surefire, but you like your chances in that game. Georgia Tech, yes. Syracuse,
so let's
yes.
just do this. Let's pick the 4 games that Florida State is a double-digit favorite. Duquesne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I think Boston College. Now, you probably can argue with me on
I go Louisiana first.
Yeah, you're right.
And then from there, it is circumstance about Boston College or Syracuse.
It's one of those two. One of those two.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Could end up being 5 games that they're double-digit favorite. But we know they'll probably be, and this is the likelihood is, 4 games in which they're double-digit favorites. And then from there, you have a lot of those, I guess, neutral or less than a touchdown.
Yeah, one
spreads.
score.
Well, and even
one way or the other.
Yeah, and even one score seems excessive to say. I think they have a lot of 3 or 4 point spreads. One way or the other.
Wake could be one of those.
Wake would be a less than touchdown spread to either side.
LSU's knocking on the door, depending upon
It's
what
down to
happens.
3. It's down to 3.
What happens in camp? I think camp injuries would probably influence.
Sharps the ball bet Florida State. It was 7 and it's to 3.
Yeah, when are you talking about? Is it Monday of game week? Is that would be your line of delineation on when the line is most accurate?
Yeah, week of the game.
So LSU's in play, Louisville's in play, Wake is in play. NC State is not. Clemson's not.
Florida here is in play.
Could be. Yeah,
I think so.
Syracuse. Well, no.
Syracuse on
that's the big favorite.
Well, on the road, right?
It is on the road. You go at Miami, at Syracuse in consecutive weeks.
Yeah. golly, we've been so average and we've been so bad that anytime, here I am trying to sugarcoat it. We've been bad. So because we've been bad, it's almost weird to utter, I got Florida State by more than 7 over Syracuse on the road. Do you?
I think so.
I agree. Syracuse.
Dino has that look this year.
Oh no, that's one of the reasons I'm disappointed I didn't go. For as emboldened as he was when he was yelling at me as if I was the problem a couple of years ago, I would have liked to have seen. Where's that bravado, Dino?
Yeah, they're rolling out Schrader again this year. So I think
made us.
It's
like
Sean Tucker. That's it. It's Sean Tucker.
Good player.
He is a good player, but
stock up on Sean Tucker.
Well, you could walk up 8 to the line and take your chances.
Yeah, I make him throw the ball. Yeah, obviously I would do that. Unfortunately, their quarterback made us look terrible.
That was still early on in the process, with Jamie Robinson and Akeem, the way they're playing and the way they finished the season. Because even though we tightened things up after the halftime of the Louisville game, I thought that secondary and in the way that they enforced around the line of scrimmage was a hell of a lot better in November. It still took a little bit more time for the secondary to look like it did, especially Amari Cooper wasn't even part of the rotation until Clemson.
Yeah, it changed things. He certainly changed things. What was the feeling at ACC kickoff about Pitt with Slovis at quarterback? Because I think Slovis transfers in from Southern Cal, for those that don't know. I think Pitt could still be good. They lose a first-round quarterback. That's never good. If you don't have a first-round quarterback to replace him, that's never good. So they should take a step back, but they're still physical on defense. I still think they've got a decent offensive line. They've got some weapons there. They lose the quarterback and the receiver. So again, I'm not trying to tell you they're going to win the ACC again. I wonder what the thought was there.
More dysfunction than anything because Narduzzi had ripped Whipple on a podcast and right. So, he's being his usual self. And I remember on the ride home yesterday, Aslan read an opening line of an article, and it may have even been way before ACC kickoff, but it said, despite Narduzzi's game management issues, you got to say he's brought Pitt back to a place that it hasn't been in a long time, which is fair on both counts.
That is fair.
It is because they won the ACC for crying out loud.
Yes, they did. With a quarterback who went in the first round and actually has a chance to be pretty decent.
I think the forgive the term because whatever, but I think the sex appeal of Miami is in the Coastal more what people were thinking about than they were about Pitt repeating as Coastal and then going to the ACC championship.
Well, we have a thing up on warchant.com. You can read about the rivalry and what Mario Cristobal had to say about that with Florida State and where Miami's at. I think he carried himself very well. Of course he did. He's charismatic. We have to hope that, we get it rolling here. Let's get some things going in the right direction, and that they sort of sputter a little bit here early because I worry that if they begin to win early, he's going to roll in recruiting.
The concern and their schedule does belie that for the most part, but they do have A&M early, and that's a 9:00 kick against Texas A&M. That'll be an interesting game.
Oddly, for the Florida State fan base, we can sit back and root for Jimbo to beat the ever-living hell out of Miami.
Whatever we root for Jimbo to do, he's not going to.
That's usually the way it works.
Yeah, except for 1 year. I'd say the one thing where you could see it imploding, and I don't mean as in they have to start over, but where that team might get a little interesting in a good way for us, he looks like he's going to wind them really tight. Like he just seems so.
Oh,
he said, there's nothing worse than you could do to be late. There's nothing worse you can do to somebody than to not be on time.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of things that you can do worse than not be on time. But it's just, if that's going to be you now, oh my God, can you imagine waking up the day of a rivalry game? You might be nervous to miss a play rather than looking to make a play. That's the one thing the way he carries himself, I'm thinking, man, he might just have them all rigid.
Let's hope it's too much. It's a fine line because he's trying to instill discipline. He gets rid of the turnover chain, which I love the turnover chain. I would have never got rid of it. I actually praised Mark Rickman and happened.
He was indignant about it too.
He was. Yeah, it was almost like he was appealing to something else. But I would suggest to you that I had no problem with that. But that said, it's all part of a shift in discipline is what he's trying to get focused on. And that discipline, you're right.
It might be out of touch.
Well,
the level with which he's trying to implement it might be out of touch.
You better win. I mean, you can do anything you want if you're winning. That's the whole deal. Like we talk about it all the time. Like you can misread the room, but if you guys go out and win 10 games, then kids are having fun, then they'll listen. It must be a good idea. We're winning now. you know, you can also be lackluster about the level of discipline you want to impose, and you can be one of the most penalized teams in the country. And if you go out and win 9-10 games, nobody cares.
Here's my perfect scenario for the start of Florida State season. You go get your 3 wins to begin the season, culminating with a Friday victory at Louisville.
Well,
you're feeling so great, pie in the sky.
Woo!
Then that next night, that Saturday at 9:00, you just sit down and you hate watch the hell out of A&M and Miami. That'd be perfect. What a way. You just kick your feet up and you say, well,
maybe
somebody who I don't like is going to lose.
Maybe we can all do that stupid little dance thing that the A&M students do the night before their games, their big pep rally. Maybe we can go like the corner pocket and we'll all do our little stupid.
Don't you have to speak in tongues?
You just slap your thigh and do a little dancey thing. You got that crazy. Burn stuff.
Like your forearm.
It gets very you're branding.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's brand equity.
Alabama is the runaway favorite to win the SEC title for a 3rd consecutive season, according to a media poll released today. So Georgia goes out, wins the whole thing. Fluke. Crimson Tide received 158 of 181 votes to win the conference. Georgia was next with 18 votes.
Wow.
By the way, what kind of bold and or seriously biased individual, and there were 3 of them, votes for South Carolina to win the SEC because they got 3 votes? I demand to know that. Which 3 of you voted for South Carolina to win the SEC this year?
I'm going to go with Chris Lowe as one of them.
I mean, that is too good. That's rich, right? Also, obviously, a coach or somebody Vandy got a vote.
To finish first?
Yes. Texas A&M got 1 vote. A&M got 1 vote. That's kind of surprising.
They should get more than, yes.
South Carolina got more votes than Texas A&M?
Right, yeah. A&M should be in that, 5 category, I'd say, somewhere in there. That's why I don't vote on those things. I mean, they gave us the opportunity, but I know what Pitt's, replacement for Addison's going to do this year. There's no way I would know that in July.
It's funny to see those votes, though, when they come up. I'm like, okay, well, it's logically, I understand why people would pick Bama, and you got Georgia second there. I would have given them a few more votes. Anybody else in the SEC? If you're going to go on a limb, Texas A&M could. They could. There's a lot of talent there. Maybe. They'd be 3rd, logically, maybe to take, and then after that, it's kind of a free-for-all. But there's a vote for Vandy, and there's 3 for South Carolina. So what are we doing? It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers Advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers Advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
Let's take a minute to imagine all the things you can accomplish with help from Southeast Portable Buildings. Are you a hoarder? Hoard some more. Get a storage shed. Mother-in-law moving in with you? Put her in a shed out back. I'm kidding. Still working on that engine that you're going to finish from last summer? Move it out to a new workspace with Southeast Portable Buildings. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
Hearth and Patio wants you to know now is the time to start thinking about your fireplaces. Yes, we know that temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 90s for the next couple of months, but now is the time to start thinking about upgrading those fireplaces. You're not going to be using them. Get those fireplaces upgraded now. They can repair all makes and models of fireplaces. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Hi, my name is Shannon Pash, and I'm the principal at Red Hills Academy. We will provide a challenging, rigorous curriculum. We will also work with our students to teach them how to set goals and then how to work to reach those goals. Red Hills Academy will offer the Spanish language every day. Relationships are really important to us, not just with our students, but with our families and the community. This benefits parents and students alike because parents get that involvement within the school. Easily apply online today at redhillsacademy.com.
Do you want to save money? Do you want to be more comfortable in your home? Check a Pro Joe here. Tune into my show this weekend on Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon. Tom the Attic Fanatic from Koala Insulation will be explaining how you can save money and bring more comfort to your life. Tune in this Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon for the Checka Pro Radio Show for energy savings and comfort solutions. To get a free attic inspection from Koala Insulation, call now 850-757-2838. That's 850-757-2838.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
The current climate, you obviously know the demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers at the same time on the same house? Well, it can be tough. First place I would suggest that you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will get you set up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. That's no longer an upgrade. It's kind of standard operating procedure now. It has to be if you want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line. You'll need that TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. And with that, you'll shorten, even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and you're ready to go. It can be tough out there, and things have certainly changed, but you have an advantage. With a proven winning team, get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon, the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. You can visit FSUHomeLoans.com. It's FSUHomeLoans.com. Back to the, I guess, questions from earlier that I did not get to, rather the ranking of the segment groups. That is kind of an interesting question. The best segment group on the team, I would argue, is secondary. We said
interesting.
Well, we said that
if AZ turns into the
I
player,
think he's a really good player. That's
why
I said it. I feel like he's gonna impact the team this year, and I don't think we're even going to be waiting. I think he's going to impact the team this season. To what degree, I don't know, but I do think he's that kind of talent.
If you list it the way that Tom Ortner has, and it's on the chat right now, as D line, then I would agree with you. I would go defensive backs first. But if you could split that up into D tackles and ends, D tackles is number one. Number one.
Yeah, because Fabian Lovett and because Farmer, I think, does something for him this year. Malcolm Ray continues to do something for him this year. Big Coop, you know how much I love Big Coop. Jared Jackson's going to do something for him this year. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. If you're going to use the entirety of the defensive line, you throw Briggs and McClendon. Obviously, we added Verse. I actually think, oddly, Leonard Warner is going to help him this year too. So I do. I think in small number of snaps.
Sure, yeah.
I think he will.
I think on running downs, you might want to certainly have somebody like him out there. And if you go against a team that's really run heavy, say the Syracuse game,
right?
For example,
Yeah.
if you've got Briggs on one side and Warner on the other,
it's not terrible.
That's
like
not bad.
He can help you. He can help you. The reason I said defensive backs, Duke Cooper's an emerging star, Tom. He's not just a player for you. He's an emerging star. Now, Jamie Robinson is solid as you get. This is a guy why we feel so good about safeties or the buck position. That's who he is. I mean, he's a strong, smart, violent football player. He's also decisive. You go back and look at the tape of the second half of last season. He is really decisive. Played well.
Interesting, too. I think, for me, Akeem Dent's emergence is what would have me really excited about safety. Just how physically he played. He gets downhill. He enforces between the seams. These are all things you think about as a receiver after watching film. Impacts the game without having to make a play necessarily because he just knows you're there. But, yeah, if you split up the groups, that would be interesting because I said you split up defensive tackles and ends. If the secondary is consisting of safety and corners, then safety is squarely in the mix, if not atop the list.
So if we're going to just use the defensive backfield, which is where I was going, I like a lot of guys. I like Sam McCall, Kevin Noles, Akeem Dent, Jamie Robinson, Amarian Cooper. I like Shaheem Brown. I mean, we're forgetting about Shaheem Brown. I like Shaheem Brown. Sidney Williams is a hitter in the run game. You can go on down the line. We'll see what DeMaury Tate, but they've got a lot of guys.
Tate, Renardo Green.
Yeah. Renardo may have to start until Knowles has it, but I mean, yeah.
Well, that means that they've got somebody over the middle they like.
I didn't count Greedy Vance because I don't trust him at all.
Not yet, but you never know.
He's so damn handsy. He's going to get so many pass interference calls. Maybe not. Maybe he'll have to lighten up on all. He's so grabby, man.
That's one low-key thing that's worth discussing, especially if we see growth at Vance in camp where you say, well, that could work.
Yeah,
think about the development.
He's played a ton of football.
Think about the development in the defensive backfield over the last year. You've got a true freshman who wasn't really available in fall camp in Amarian who emerges as your best player. And he was able to assimilate the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
He was developed to a place where he could play as a true freshman and be an impact player for you. That means that your coaching staff is doing a good job because he wasn't a 5-star blue chipper that everybody wanted and you beat out Alabama and Georgia for. It's a good job by the coaching staff. Akeem Dent's career is flipped completely. They found a home for him. They coached him up.
It wasn't looking good because effort was a problem for a time.
It was, but again, a credit to his position coach and obviously to the defensive coordinator who's working with the defensive backs as well. So if you continue down the line and Renardo Green bounced back, we saw him in a black jersey for the tour of duty workouts, and you thought, well, isn't that great? He cares. He cares to try hard. Doesn't mean anything. He's not going to play. And now he might start for you. The development of that position has been really good since about the back half of last season.
Since we get into the discussion of development and guys improving and taking steps forward, think about this. Maurice Smith, let's just say we get out there next week. It's next week, baby. It's in a few days. We get out there and we see Maurice Smith, and he's put on 20 pounds or 15 pounds. Now, you might say to yourself, how's a guy putting 15 pounds on from the time we saw him in the spring to now? Well, if you had an injury that would not allow you to work out as intensely and purposefully as you wanted, that's one way. If you had something to do with some other sort of medical malady, right? Let's just put it that way. And now that's been remedied. You could see a big shift in the ability to put on weight. And I don't know what specifically, nor if I did what I say it, was ailing him in terms of his inability to put on weight. But apparently that has been solved. So if that is solved and there's a big man in there waiting to come out, but it just couldn't, because if you are 280 pounds with this problem, imagine what you could be, obviously, if this situation is remedied. So let's say he's 295. Let's say he can get to that. And we already like his bend and his athleticism and his intelligence. He just wasn't strong enough. He just wasn't big enough. So now you got a guy competing at that position. Let's say Caden Lyles is ready to go. He wasn't in the spring. Well, all of a sudden, you've got a steep bit of competition at center where you had a question mark, where you were worried. Now let's go. Let's let that group really compete, right? Thomas Schrader, are you bigger and stronger? Are you able to compete with Darius Washington for a tackle? I'm not saying I want you to start.
Guard,
or guard. I said tackle. Guard. Yeah, I'm not saying I want you to start. But I want you to be able to play in a pinch, and I want you not to be a downgrade to the point where now we have to kind of steer things away from you and hide you. I don't want to have to hide you. Can you go out there and hold your own? Maybe. That's not unrealistic to expect that maybe that's where this time in the offseason he's progressed and gotten a lot stronger. Bless Harris was very good in the spring. I don't know what he's going to be in the fall or in games, but he looked better than I anticipated him being in the spring. Let's put it that way. Dylan Gibbons is our best offensive lineman. He looked great. He's only going to get better. I have a feeling he'll be, once again, our best. And then what's Robert Scott? I know I don't trust Lloyd Willis yet, but Robert Scott, God, he's played a lot of reps, and he's a big kid, and he's never going to be an elite tackle, but he might end up being a plus player for you.
Putting on nearly 20 pounds since spring. How did that happen? And do you still have the agility to play left tackle and get to the places you need to get, stop a speed rush, things like that, at that much more weight?
Dimitri Emmanuel transfers in. What is he? The kid from South Carolina. What is he? We're talking about creating competition and creating depth.
Yeah, Mike was using the term double digits, and that might be a little aspirational, but even if it's 8 or 9, like think about it this way. And maybe Maurice Smith's snapping issues were related to the back injury. Could very well be. You'd think that might have an impact if you're trying to snap a football and get up and block, that maybe a bad back or whatever would hinder you. But let's just consider an optimistic point of view and say that the center position is a battle between Lyles and Smith.
That is, yeah.
The loser of that could be a guard for you, right? So now you have a guard rotation that consists of Gibbons that's locked in, Dimitri Emmanuel, Darius Washington, maybe a healthy Thomas Schrader, maybe not, but the loser of the battle at center. So even if you rule out Schrader for the beginning of the season, you now have potentially a 4-man guard rotation that you don't feel crappy about. Okay. That's way better.
Yes.
Last year you had 1 guard. So these things get better.
Were you surprised to hear him mention Darrell Powers?
No, and it made me excited because he looks like he has the raw tools to be a player at that position. But then I also tempered it this morning when I thought about it again. I'm like, well, he did rave about Jackson West. So let's not get our hopes up too high just yet.
Well, the reason he raved about Jackson West is that from the time Jackson West arrived, he was punching people in the face and was willing to fight and show toughness. It wasn't because of the athleticism or ability to play the position, just that he didn't get here scared. And so you thought you could mold it. This, I think, is a little bit different. I think he feels like he's got an athletic mismatch against some people.
Yes, I believe that to be true, but I'm just saying before, when he knew he didn't have much at the position, if anything, at tight end, so maybe he's more than willing to overstep and overstate what he believes he has because he's done it before, specifically at tight end. That's happened before. It's not that he steers you wrong in general at most positions, but just it's happened before tight end where I said, all right, you know what? The help is coming. Here comes Jackson West. And then, no, not really.
Yeah, because we are desperate at that position, and it would change your offense, especially since we all know that you lost Jordan Wilson, who was your best blocking tight end. He's gone. And it's a position within the offense that Mike has talked about being of great importance. And your other choices are Wyatt Rector, DJ Daniels, Kobe Gross, Vance, guys that aren't here.
We liked,
but yeah.
Yeah, we like Courtney, though, as a pass catching guy.
Sure.
And maybe he's done work. That'll be an interesting player just to see in the summer. Was he able to round into form a little bit more? Because the take that we had on him in spring was that's an interesting player as a pass catcher, not going to block anybody.
Not yet.
But maybe there's enough work done in the gym this summer where you could say, in a pinch, you might be able to get 3 or 4 reps out of him where you might actually be able to block.
Weakest segment group on the team? Yeah, by far. I think so. That or receiver.
Or kicker. But yeah. Yeah, I think tight end. Yeah.
I think so too. I'd like that not to be the case someday.
Well, they rectified O-line, and it felt like it was never going to happen. I think it's fair to say that they've done everything they possibly can, and you have short-term and long-term solutions.
You would have thought, and maybe they thought they had with Wilson. Unfortunately, he turned out to be a really good block. Really late in the year, he caught the ball a little bit. But
he was a good player
he turned out to
after
be
Game 7.
Yeah, really late in the year. But you, with all the transfer portal success that they've had, and that being a position that is vital within the offense, proclaimed by Mike when he got the job, and we look at the Memphis teams, I'm just surprised they haven't found a guy. They just haven't found a guy that you're like,
pump up Burrell. Come on.
Like, that's the guy. Let's go. Well, that's a possibility. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
In Leon County, the COVID transmission rate is considered high right now, according to the CDC website. The FAMU COVID testing site positive rate is between 24 to 29%. Tanya Tatum with FAMU Health Services said that number does not include at-home testing, so the positivity rate in the community is likely even higher. And people should think twice before attending a large gathering. Tatum said the newest variants are more contagious, and Leon County is seeing a very significant community transmission. Testing at FAMU has increased over the last few weeks from just a few hundred to almost 800 people tested on Monday. Dr. Daniel Van Durm at FSU's College of Medicine said with a steady rise in cases, he expects some states will soon require masks again. Tallahassee Memorial reports 19 patients are COVID positive, and Florida Capital is reporting 14 patients as of Thursday. Both Tatum and Dr. Van Durm remind everyone to follow CDC guidance on wearing masks indoors and getting fully vaccinated. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered storms this afternoon, otherwise overcast. Daytime highs approaching 91, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overcast tonight, chance for scattered thunderstorms, lows level off around 74. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, chance for scattered thunderstorms, daytime highs approaching 93. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Chapman Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Is the luncheon, mentioned it already. Practice schedule released. We know that. Preseason awards lists are coming out. Practice schedule released, but that's true not only here, but throughout the country. So you consider that, then you throw in the NFL practices getting underway, and we have real football games to circle on the calendar. And, man, a couple of you asked recently during the course of the week, and we made only one reference to this, so I understand why there might be some confusion. When is the Jeff Cameron Show / Warchant appreciation, listener appreciation party? We're going to have to do that a little different this year. Wanted to get that out there to you. Just the way the schedule falls with us being a week 0 game and then the LSU game up there in New Orleans. It's just kind of an oddity with the way the schedule works. So we're going to do it in season, not preseason. That is not ideal, but that's the way the schedule works. So that's what we're going to do. We'll have further announcements later on regarding that. Should be fun, though.
A couple of dates circled. And hint, it'll be a Friday before a home game. We're just picking which one works best for everybody's schedules involved. But we're looking forward to it. And frankly, this is usually a time when I panic because we're about a month out from the event followed by season, and you're trying to get 3 or 4 things up and running. I like this. This will space it out a little bit.
Today is the 22nd.
That is correct.
First college football game is the 27th of August. So, do we want to do the days, weeks, or wake ups? You know, how do you want to do it? You know what? We love to do that.
Well, it's days
You're
plus
a
a wake
month
up.
away.
And
Yeah.
days plus a wake up feels good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I start pulling these things up like, oh, well, so we have a Nevada, New Mexico State game, an Austin P. Western Kentucky, but also on that same day, a Big Ten game, Nebraska and Northwestern. Don't be fooling around and losing Scott Frost game 1 against the Northwestern. I'm going to be doing some work with the Nebraska site this year. That could prove to be a toughie.
You could introduce 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, to the folks in Nebraska.
That game is in Ireland, by the way. Did you know that?
No.
It's in Ireland.
Northwestern, Nebraska, and Ireland?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Preseason for Nebraska football kicks into gear Tuesday, July 26th. The Huskers' appearance at Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis from 8 a.m. to 12:45, according to Coach Scott Frost. That's what they said. So there you have it. There it is. So if this isn't Nebraska radio, just thought you should know that's when they're getting started on Tuesday for their big trip over to Ireland against Northwestern.
Would you want us to schedule a game in Ireland?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Who would you want to play?
I don't care. Duquesne. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Let's go.
Ireland?
Ireland's
the
awesome.
Ireland football team?
I have been to Ireland. It is an awesome place.
Dublin College?
I was there for 10, 11 days. They were wonderful days. They were wonderful days. Great time. That's where I honeymooned. So
I feel like playing Stanford somehow would just be cooler. You grab Stanford, Florida State, and Stanford.
I didn't pay anybody.
Ireland.
Just play it in Ireland. Let's go. Let's get it done. Good times. Let's go. Well, if we're being honest and you just want to see places, go places that are fun, whatever, you play Florida State's taking on North Carolina in Spain. Okay. All right, let's go.
Barcelona.
Let's go. Good times. I'm in. Should be fun. Of the August 27th slate, which is now close enough in proximity that you can get giddy about watching football on your TV or your tablet or your computer or however it is you take in football games. I have to say that oddly, there's this weird throwback thing to it. I'm going to admit that I'm kind of excited about Wyoming versus Illinois. I don't know what it is. Well, you know I have a thing for Wyoming, but
you going to tape that game? It's an hour before ours.
Yeah, I'll have to. I don't know, a tape. Pull it up on demand.
DVR on demand. You would have loved the one guy at the ACC kickoff with the radio voice is still there.
Oh, is he?
Bob Holliday with.
Yeah.
And he had funny questions. He would say, you guys were 5th in defensive field position last year, but you only had 7 turnovers. How do you get more interceptions this year?
Oh,
like
no.
That.
And he did it that way?
Oh, yeah. Every question.
Want to do a W's and L's for Wyoming?
Oh, my God. It is a Friday, isn't it?
You turned off my mic. You turned off my mic.
What's that from? You're telling me no, your mic's not turned off.
Everything is dead. I can't hear anything.
Well, you know what? That's when I take the wheel here. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back with the final segment of the Jeff Cameron Show right here.
It's all dead in my
93.3
ears, kids.
and Warchant TV.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose end. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
Angie's List is now Angie, your home for everything home. With Angie, you could cross your next project off your to-do list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, and we'll handle the rest. Sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly. All for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream remodel. Because however you want your project done, we'll get it done. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
The Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Approaching the heavy season, so if you just want to maintain, just try to maintain and keep it together. We know how football is the heavy season indeed. Orange Theory Fitness, 2 locations in town, Midtown and on the north side. By the way, first class always free. Get in there, you get past that intimidation, it's all good. You'll see it's a team, everybody works together. It's not like a contest, but you will challenge yourself and you will see progress, and it will give you more energy, or as I like to point out, more life. That's for sure. First month free with a purchase of a heart rate monitor. That's good too. There's always incentives for you to save money and ways to help out. And those are 2 of those right there. But I would strongly suggest if you're looking for an exercise routine, something different, something that challenges you, but something that works, scientifically backed, it's Orange Theory Fitness. Probables, T. Lizzie. Let's get to those probables.
Well, can I interrupt one second? There's an awesome headline, and it involves Mr. Hopar Ho. That just in the last 20 minutes.
Awesome.
It's from footballscoop.com, and footballscoop.com reports that the NCAA has officially accused Jeremy Pruitt and former staff members of providing cash and McDonald's bags to Tennessee recruits, but not cash in McDonald's bags.
Just the bags.
Just the bags.
You got a bag
cash.
and there's some cash over here. Which one are you going to pick?
Hopar Ho.
Oh, my man was desperate enough, right? When you're up against it, just give him the damn money in the bags.
The McDonald's bags?
Sure.
Coach, they're still greasy.
That's always fun. That was
Hopar Ho.
That was my question to him, and that was his answer, and that was I was looking around. I'll never forget. I looked at Chris Nee. I was like, I don't know what he said. What is
Hopar Ho.
What is that? What is he talking about? That's weird. Okay, now we'll do probables.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Full slate tonight, and away we go. Cardinals, Reds, Adam Wainwright, Graham Ashcraft. Cubs, Phillies, Justin Steele, Kyle Gibson. Marlins Buccos, Braxton Garrett and Zach Thompson. Come on, Zach.
Hey, didn't you win your bet last week?
2-2.
Oh, no.
Lost 2 extra inning games.
No Bloodskis. Did you double down?
I'll text the combatant after the show and say, hey, Yankees Orioles, Jameson Taillon, Tyler Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, your Baltimore Orioles are not sub 500. Pretty cool. Padres Mets, Yu Darvish, Max Scherzer. Great game.
It's a matchup of aces the last 5 years.
That's a really good matchup. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Kevin Gausman and Nathan Eovaldi. We got the Angels and the Braves, Shohei Ohtani and Charlie Morton. Rays, Royals, Drew Rasmussen and Brad Keller. Guardians, White Sox, TBD, Lucas Giolito. Rockies, Brewers, Antonio Cincinnati and Corbin Burns. We've got the Nationals and the D-backs, Patrick Corbin and Zach Gallen. Rangers, A's, Spencer Howard, Cole Irvin. Astros, Mariners, Jose Urquidy and Marco Gonzalez. And finally, Giants, Dodgers rivalry. Hopefully nobody gets killed. It seems like it happens every time these two teams meet. Somebody in the stands gets punched to death or stabbed in the parking lot. Not a friendly rivalry. Logan Webb, Tyler Anderson. That is a look at those that shall result of the ball. You weren't here, Tom, but I brought it up yesterday. You know how close we are to Big Daddy J and wagering being a thing again? Here we go.
Big Daddy J's already laying down on the futures market. He has been.
I have been. I'm so excited. I am so excited about how close we are to being able to look ahead to the weekend for the big games. So many big games to choose from. Might be 8 to 10 to 15 in a given weekend that we classify as big.
Miss Lee Sterling, too. Get him back in the fold.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. NFL future props. Herbert passing leader plus 750.
7.5 on the leader?
Mm.
The only problem is that offense. They don't have a new coordinator, so that would be your limiting factor. Still a decent bet, though.
What do you like about this? Future prop, Colts to win the AFC South minus 110.
That's it?
That's it.
That's basically a straight bet.
Yeah.
You make that bet.
I am going to make that bet. Win totals, Raiders, 8.5.
Unless they're matched up with ridiculous divisions beyond their own, that's an over.
You can get them at an under plus 100. So something to look at there. The Bears under 6.5 is minus 150. I think it's an under on the Bears. I think they suck.
It's probably true, yeah.
Yeah. Steelers, how about this? 7.5.
Who's fighting for their job again? I always get it wrong.
Well,
is it Trubisky?
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't. Yes, they're. It's who's going to play quarterback, right? I mean,
yeesh.
I'm going to go under. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah, like Najee Harris might rack up 1,500 all-purpose yards, and they still hit the under.
Comeback player of the year, you can get Christian McCaffrey at 16-1.
That's a great bet.
Sprinkle some pizza money on 16-1, buddy.
Football media will be happy to vote for that guy for any reason.
But he's also good, so
yeah.
I mean, if he's healthy, that's a giant if. But if he's healthy for a season, he'll put up big numbers.
But even if he's not deserving and he's top 3, the football media
you
at
get
16-1
bonus. You get an added bonus. But I'm just saying, if he is healthy, he'll put up numbers because he's good, and that would be a number, man. That's 16-1. Hell yeah, something to think about. But these are the little pearls that we throw out there before we actually have the games. The games.
Harbaugh cares deeply pretty soon.
Oh, doesn't he? Oh, doesn't he? Come on. Let's get to that preseason football. I once thought it to be absurd, the idea of betting on preseason football. Now it's an ATM. You're a fool if you don't bet on preseason football.
Oh, here you go.
That's the truth. A fool. Easy money, especially when it comes to the Ravens.
Your email inbox by the end of this month. Here you go.
Yeah. All right. Only do it if you got the stomach for it. Only do it if you got the ability.
By the stomach, you mean wallet for it. Yeah.
Just be smart. Otherwise, run for the hills and ignore me completely. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk.